Here is day 26 with Dior. Just starting her again with the ribbon and a little bit of the connection work. And then asking her to do a trot circle. What's kind of fun to see is she's starting to come a little bit smaller and smaller on her circles. She's got her ear on me. And right there, she was kind of wanting to stop there before, so the second time I used that as an opportunity to use my voice and say ho. And that was a nice little draw. And there she actually responded really well to moving forward, even when she was passing a bowel movement. Sometimes they kind of get a little stuck, but I thought that was very good. And then she's getting pretty good for when I ask for the canter step, when I increase my energy. And I'm going to use the sound of a smooch. And even when she just gives me a couple of steps, that's good enough. And ask her to come in some more. And then go back to touching with the stick again. And now for the left lead, gonna ask. She actually seems a little bit stronger on the left lead than the right. And so I was able to get a couple more canter steps than I could to the right. But I was pretty pleased with that. And then we're just gonna work on walking. See if I can get her to stay up next to my shoulder. And she's doing that pretty well. And then I like to just take the time and give her a couple more rubs, and then I put on the driving lines. The thing about my driving lines, I need to get some different ones because I think I have one set that's just way too long, and I have to be very mindful that it doesn't, I have to be very mindful about where my feet are because it's just very annoying. And I also could be a little bit further back in her driving line because that would probably help her a little bit better, but I'm happy with how relaxed she's being. And I'm just going to get her to go left and right, and again feeling the rope on both sides. It's really good preparation for when you have anything that kind of gets around your horse's legs. And then also working on teaching her to follow the pressure from the halter, which that will help when I'm on her as well. So again, being careful about those ropes. So now I'm going to ask for her to kind of go to the right, and that was really nice. She followed her nose really well. And you can see she very much has a she's very much a forward-going mare, which is a nice thing to have. And then I'm going to ask her to go left, and she followed that really nicely. And then putting a little bit of pressure on for the whoa and using my voice. So I was really happy with that. Try to keep it all pretty minimal. If I'm able to get it done and they're relaxed and they're understanding, then I'm not going to keep on doing it. So moving on to then getting on her again. I like to do it from both sides. Giving her some good rubs. And then asking her to move off. And she's not too worried about people. She was heading towards Megan, who is actually helping me film today. And that was a nice following the pressure a little bit on her nose. So here I had to hold it a little bit more. And then she started to get it. And just doing a little bit of the same work that I had shown her on the ground. Seeing if I can get her to follow her nose. And oftentimes they like to kind of check you out and sniff your foot. I always like to let them do that. I'm mindful though that sometimes they might bite it, because again, they are predator or prey animals and we are on their back, so going against all those things. But just being mindful that they don't get that stirrup or anything in their mouth. But I do think it's important that they get to sniff you and to understand that it's okay. And go up into a little trot. That was a very good transition. And then asking her to trot again. Now I'm just working on kind of having different movements on her. She really likes to stop in that one little spot right there. But just changing how I am a little bit. And then asking her for the whoa. And then giving her a nice reward. And you can see she is funny because I put the pressure on the left leg to ask her to change directions, but she got mad at my inside leg. So sometimes I keep that in mind too, because I have treated for ulcers and all of that stuff. You want to make sure that you're on top of that, and also chiro and anything like that. So see, she kicked out again. But I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to ignore it. I'm just going to let her kind of work through it. And then that time when she picked up the canter, she did it all on her own, and then it was fine. Part of it's just kind of following with them a little bit. And again, I have my left leg to help me turn, to kind of teach her to move off the leg. And that was really good. And again, just getting her used to the movement, moving my arms around. And I also like to make sure she gets plenty of like walk breaks in between. And going between posting and sitting is also good for them as well. And then that was a very nice response to my seat. So I'm going to give her a really nice rub. She really likes to have her neck rubbed. And give her some good scratches and just let her think about that for a minute. And she really is pretty good in dealing with kind of when you're wiggling all around. She doesn't really mind at all. There I did a little bit of a smooch and asked for a canter step. And that was pretty nice and smooth there. And again, in the beginning stages of them, you really want them to understand going forward, walk, trot, and canter, kind of getting all the movement to go forward. And I've got her pretty good listening to the whoa when I ask just off my voice in my seat. And I'm going to let her kind of sit here for a moment, and then going to ask her to change directions with using my right leg. And I use kind of turning into the fence to help them. And I'm going to let her just walk for a minute. And I think working on just again getting her to change direction. And I really like kind of where she is right here. She's nice and relaxed. She's listening, asking for the stop. And that was a really good session. I was really pleased with her. Just going to practice getting on and off a couple more times. And that was really good. So really pleased with Dior.